Welcome to the Prana and Poetry Pod, Episode 3, Narcissism and Colonialism, the Same Demon. I open with some spoken word poetry. I take back my power, the words that you stole, every inch of the theft, every last sound of my breath and scratch of my pen. I return the vibrations to me. My form and my voice for all to see, my true beauty, my Shakti, the whole of me. You are the demon and I the Devi. I take back my goddess power. Never again shall you reign over me. Your world may be an illusion, but it is my truth that will set me free. In last week's episode, I touched upon the Western colonial psyche as embodying the fragmented personality of the narcissist. Let's call it a sociopath even, which is further down the spectrum of this personality disorder, the psychopath being at the far end. Anyone who's been in a toxic relationship with a narc or sociopath, even a psychopath, and trust me, these people are everywhere, know the stages of mental and emotional terror and abuse they put others through. These are the same stages used to destroy indigenous knowledge and medicine, and I'm talking about the Dharma traditions in the context of the yoga industry and all that new age spiritual capitalism, much of which is based on Sanatana Dharma, or what the West likes to box as Hinduism. These personality disorders and colonial ways of operating are a direct result of supremacist ideologies rooted in insecure, misogynistic cultures and religions that repress the experience of the feminine divine or the feminine being, Earth or Mother Earth being an example. Unnatural laws that go against nature's cycles and rhythms, including the body cycles and rhythms, are the cause of both individual and collective trauma. It is my personal observation that narcissism and colonialism is one and the same. Here's a list of the stages of narcissistic abuse, and I recommend reading anything by Shahida Arabi to get educated and informed on this. So the first stage is idealize. The predator love bombs or idealizes the culture, let's say. The darker intention for this love bombing stage is pathological envy. They end up taking your energy, time, and resources, and once they have chewed you up and they are done taking, they devalue you. In the context of Dharma and its holistic medicines and therapies like Ayurveda, even yoga, they start telling you it's unscientific. They strip it of its roots because of their pathological envy. The next stage is sabotage. They start corrupting the knowledge, repackaging it. They give it another name and claim to have discovered this new spiritual tool or resource. There is entitlement. They say it's theirs. They created it. They made it better. It's not to do with religion or anyone's culture they make up. They can take what they like. It's their right. It's my right if I want to say namaste at the end of class or not. I like it. I read that this is the meaning. It's a nice meaning. This person said it was fine to use, so I can do what I want. No empathy, no concern over harm, pure ignorance and indifference. They proceed to dissociate from the individual they're harming, or in this case, the original culture. If their behaviour or harm is called out by an indigenous carrier of the culture, what ensues is a variety of calculated behaviours, the following 3 of which are very common: stonewalling, silent treatment, and slander. These can come under the stage known as the smear campaign. So in the context of Sanatana Dharma and our modalities of spiritual practice, medicine and healing, the Western industrial complex, including Western academia and their Indologists, who, by the way, are each other's allies, begin an attack based on fabrications about the tradition to malign and undermine its people, the practices and the culture. Let's note that being a skilled con artist is a trait of the malignant narcissist. An example of the targeted attack towards those of the original culture would be the current propaganda of the caste system used to malign and undermine Hindus, particularly Brahmins, whose dharma is to preserve our sacred knowledge. No one is taking away from the tragic and cruel reality of the caste system, an alien, foreign, divisive structure superimposed on the indigenous system known as Varna. If you'd like to learn more about this and begin the process of uncolonizing and decolonizing the history of Bharat, I'll be happy to point you in the right direction and offer some resources. However, the current smear campaign is to create Hindu-phobic narratives, so the stripping away of our ancestral knowledge and medicine, land and self-sovereignty can continue. Remember that invaders entered the thriving land that was Bharat because of their pathological envy. So when you call out the incorrect information and behavior, you're met with stonewalling and gaslighting. This looks like shutting the person down, invalidating their voice, or not allowing their voice to be heard at all. It also looks like presenting a false history, or in this case, a history from the oppressor's perspective. And in the case of the yoga industry or New Age spirituality, the Hindu dharmic reality and perspective is denied because the propaganda and conditioning from the supremacists is so strong and widespread. The narcissist, sociopath or psychopath will proceed to project upon the scapegoat or victim the features of their own personality, which comprise of extremism, entitlement, arrogance, blatant lack of empathy and tolerance, pathological lying, and the list goes on. This is projected upon Sanatanis and Dharmics to slander them, strip them of their reputation. Note that the denial of their reality and history and truth is gaslighting. One of the saddest parts is that those belonging to the culture itself become conditioned into believing the predator's lies and view of reality and history, a view of their own culture that was once sovereign. And these outsiders of the culture are predators. They prey upon unsuspecting, innocent or naive indigenous folk who are humble and glad in offering cultural knowledge in the first place, only to be betrayed and discarded so that the very knowledge can be turned into something that is profitable. It's taken for selfish means. The original carriers of the culture are not given credit and are discredited themselves, spat out, used up, discarded. In the Western world, Hindus or teachers from the Indian subcontinent are rarely platformed or given studio time or classes to teach compared to their white counterparts. They are used only for their usefulness in a way that benefits the dominant group. Discard is the final stage of narcissistic or sociopathic abuse. We can go into the social justice aspect, which speaks to whiteness and how that is a problematic ideology. However, decolonization is a different tract. It's about platforming indigenous voices, returning to them their rightful sovereignty. It is their own heritage after all. Bringing social justice matters, a Western movement rooted in racial and other social issues, detracts from the problem at the root, and in many cases continues the colonization of dharmic culture, as you're now using Western systems or ideologies to tackle what are mainly European origin problems. The solution is to decolonize, to unlearn and relearn the land's history. Listen to the original carriers of the cultures, those who have inherited the knowledge and wisdom, and those who are doing the hard work of uncolonizing their body, mind, and path from over 1,000 years of trauma. Learn from indigenous teachers or lineage teachers, as well as from the authentic teachings which come from the correct context and methodology. Because this is what will provide the transformation, the healing, the wholeness, and the liberation. Anything else continues the sickness in the mind, the disease of narcissism. Yoga, as it's presented in the industrial complex, becomes an addiction, something to keep the mind and body distracted. A small part of the teaching is being mistaken as the whole of the practice, and this disconnection is reflected in the continued fragmentation of the colonized psyche. So, to that I say, wake the fuck up. I truly hope you find yourself on the true dharmic path. If you're listening to this, I trust you're already on your sadhaka journey, and I thank you for hearing my voice and for being here. May you find your way. Hi, I'm Payal. Let me know if you found this comparison of the personality type with the power structure interesting. Did it resonate? What are your thoughts? Subscribe for more, and I'll speak to you next time.